There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. All the love of God was at hand. Now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, just gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Yeah, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Let me hear it. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God.
Woo, 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 woo. Yes, I am only here for God. I love that beginning for this day. Wow, look how many of you sprung forward with me. Woo, woo, woo. That is fabulous. So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Colorado Springs. I am Reverend Sally Bartholomew, the spiritual director and senior minister. I get to be senior minister again today. Woo, woo. So welcome to our center. What do we do here at this center? We come together to celebrate, to honor, and to question, what is the divine? How does it operate in our lives? And I recognize that we have many paths, many ways that bring us here today. So I am grateful for all the paths, and I'm grateful that you are here today. Is there anyone who happens to be here for the very first time today? If so, could you raise your hand? All right, it looks like we've got all kinds of great return people today. Yes, 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 yes. So this morning, I'm going to invite you to spring up and say, hello, world, to each other. Hello, world.
Sing it. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am open up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. There's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, then I go inside and quiet my mind. Hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. There's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Today's words of inspiration first come from the great actor Alan Alda. At times, you have to leave the city of your comfort and go into the wilderness of your intuition. What you'll discover will be wonderful. What you'll discover is yourself. And by Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant, but yet has forgotten the gift. And last, from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. Pray with me. As I take a big, deep breath and slow my mind down, the monkey mind of this beautiful Sunday morning, get to look out and see the slow changing weather that has been braced this week. From beautiful snow days and delays to 60-degree weather, nature has provided beautiful examples of the divine this week. And I get to look out this morning and see beautiful sunshine, crisp wind, and know that that presence of spirit is right here, right now. It exists in all the faces and smiles of people that are in this sanctuary. It exists out throughout nature, throughout mankind. There is this presence. And I step into that universal mind that I know exists in my mind and in the mind of others. These thoughts, these feelings, these hopes, desires are all part of that universal mind of the divine. And in today's service, I know it is filled with this divine perfection, that everything, the ebb and flow of this service runs with beauty, ease, and grace. I know that the words of Reverend Sally are filled with this love and light, tapped into this divine intuition. This intelligence just flows freely. And I know that Reverend Sally is blessed in giving this message exactly what needs to be said. And I know the many cogs that put this beautiful service together, from the ushers and greeters to our production team, to the beautiful dedicated souls who are witness to people yelling bingo tonight. I know that that is also divinely blessed. And I just give deep gratitude for being able to hold this consciousness, hold this prayer, and being able to see it unfold, for being witness to its magnificence, and for being able to just be witness. I just step back and release my words into that law of love and light. Knowing all that has been said in this prayer is already manifested, I simply step back. And I conclude this prayer by simply saying, and so it is.
Here we are upon the precipice. I kind of made a mess of this. We just followed orders. The hands of fate held a gun to us. just followed orders. She's just a state of mind, excuses we've designed, and still we step in time. It's easier than going alone. We let her take the keys and drive us where she please. We ride the breezes if we never had a choice of our own. And we named her Destiny. And we blame our destiny. But there's a calling deep inside of us, the sound of what's unsatisfied in us, and we can't ignore it. No, no, it's time to grow and be the Renaissance, to move beyond our jaded nonchalance, 'cause we can't ignore it. And if we tap the source, we'll be a tour de force. We'll set the proper course. The automatic pilot was wrong. We'll be the remedy, a new reality. We'll rise above to see that we've been at the wheel all along. We can change our destiny. We can change our destiny. We can change our destiny. We control our destiny. Come on, kid. We can change our destiny. We can change our destiny. We can change our, we control our destiny.
We can control our destiny. Thank you, Jeremy, Ken, Mark. Back in the back, we've got Joe, Mackenzie, and Ben. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's turn within. So as I begin this morning's talk, I'm inviting us to turn within. I'm inviting us to pay attention to our breath going in and out. I'm inviting us to release anything and everything that came before this present moment. And as we do this, as I do this, speaking from the I as we do in classes, as I allow myself to do this, then I can truly hear that still small voice that speaks from within. And I'm going to start off with a quote this morning from Stillness Speaks and Eckhart Tolle. Maybe Ben, if you can forward the slides there. In the meantime, I'm going to read it from here. When you recognize that there is a voice in your head that pretends to be you and never stops speaking, you are coming out of unconscious identification with that stream of thoughts. I may have said this quote before, but it's worth repeating. When you notice that voice, you realize that you are not the voice, the thinker, but the one who is aware. And freedom lies in knowing yourself as the consciousness behind the voice. So he encourages us to get quiet, to listen, to hear that stream of thoughts, that voice that's yammering in the background, and recognize that that voice, though loud and insistent sometimes, it is not who we are. We are the awareness. We are the consciousness that hears and can attend to the voice. So as I was sitting with this week's talk title, The Still Small Voice, this week, I was inspired by birding and by social media. So let's start with the birding, okay? So as a birder, I am training myself when I'm out there on the trails, or really anywhere, but especially when I'm out there on the trails, I'm training myself to listen, to open my awareness to the birds that are in the area. So I hear the song and I try to focus on where did I hear that song, or I might be walking along and then I see a little bird go flit, or I think it's a bird, right? My eye catches something, so then I grab my bennies and I'm focusing in on that, trying to find the little creature that has caught my attention. And so for me, that's sometimes what it's like listening to that still small voice within. I catch just a sound or something, and then I have to turn within, bring up my bennies to find out what's that still small voice saying for me. What am I to catch that I wasn't aware of because I was so focused on everything else out here in the external world? Maybe it happens for you that way, I don't know. So the other thing that caught my attention this week was a video. I will admit, I had my phone and I was scrolling through YouTube videos. And one video in particular caught my attention, and it was Dodo Tech, Steve Dodo. It's a tech guru that I love to watch. He's helped me understand more technology than I can admit. So I scroll through, and when he's got something up there, I'll stop with it. And in this particular case, his title was something, the words that caught my eye were the algorithms and gray matter. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. So he has this gray matter podcast, and the algorithms are what's used in social media to catch and retain our attention. And so I listened to his podcast, and I was just saying, yes, yeah, I understand. And so in his podcast, what he's telling us is that from the time we're born, we are influenced by our families, by our culture, by our nation. You know, it's not something new, right? It's all the same information we've heard before. And yet, the other thing he said was, when the internet was relatively new, what we got used to doing was to go to the internet and we'd have a question. What's the weather in the Bahamas today? We'd type it into the search engine, and the search engine would go out and find out the information and give us the information that we requested. Well, fast forward decades. It's hard to admit that. Fast forward decades, and now we have applications. Facebook, Instagram, Google. And they have these things called algorithms that are built into the software, built into the programming of these applications, that not only do they seek out what it is that you have directly input, intentionally asked about, but they are programmed to widen the aperture of what you're searching for. So they cast a net out there much wider than what you might have typed to begin with. It's like taking your binnies and making the focus go much wider. And the thing that interests me in this is the fact I'm not intentionally deciding how wide to make that aperture. The program running in the background is doing that for me. And not only is it doing that for me, but it is also identifying, well, this week she wanted to know about the Bahamas, and last week she was asking about building a greenhouse in her backyard, and then she did some sort of search on furniture. And the next thing you know, lo and behold, all the advertising is being personalized to me, even in the game that I play. And yes, I'm hooked on backgammon. Yeah. So what I'm becoming more and more aware of is the fact that there are programs out there that are designed to hook us, to keep our attention, and to keep our focus externally focused and not listening to the still small voice within. And I will admit, and Dave will readily tell you, that I do spend a lot of time scrolling, playing backgammon. And that's something that I am allowing myself to release and let go. So I've talked about birding, I've talked about the social media, and I've linked it with this still small voice. And so what is this still small voice? Well, it's our intuition. And Ernest gives us a definition that I'd like to work with here. So he tells us that God in man, it's God in man revealing to him the realities of being. And I invite you to let go of the frustration of using the male gendered terms here. Just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide man if he would allow it to operate through him. The ability to know without process of knowing, process of reasoning, that's also another definition of intuition. The ability to know without process of reasoning. And Ernest goes on to tell us that God knows only intuitively. So, a couple things to unpack in that one. God knows only intuitively. God is not using reason and logic to deductively think. Doesn't happen that way. And the ability to know without this process of reasoning is what that's all about. So, how many of you have, it's a long time ago, again, I'm dating myself. How many of you have seen the movie or know the story of Pinocchio? Okay. I think we should play that movie in these times, but for a whole nother reason. You know, the puppet, right? Anytime he tells a lie, his nose grows longer. Okay, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was the other character, Pepe, right? The little cricket that sits on Pinocchio's shoulder. And Pepe is the voice of his consciousness. It is. He represents that still small voice within. And Pepe knows good and evil. It knows how to guide Pinocchio through life. And so it's something that we need to be aware of, that we do know. We do have that internal voice that when we allow ourselves to get still enough, we can hear it. It's always, as Ernest says, it's always there, always available. It's just, what are we paying attention to in the outside world? How are we bringing our binnies up to focus in on the still small voice? So last week, I brought into the service the practice of centering prayer. And this week, we're going to introduce 3 more practices, spiritual practices that we can use to turn within, to listen to this still small voice. And the first one is meditation. And meditation is something that, like people ourselves, right? It's something that we can do many different ways. We can do a silent meditation. We can do a meditation focused on a mantra or an affirmation. We can do a walking meditation, which happens to be one of my favorites. And whatever meditation process it is that we use, the intention is to turn within. The intention is to focus on that still, small voice within. So meditation is one of the spiritual practices that we are invited to use. Now, the second spiritual practice that I'd like to talk to you about is visioning. Now, we just completed the visioning class, and I can tell you I was honored and awestruck at being able to attend both the day and the evening visioning class and to witness the final projects of all the students in that class. It is amazing what comes through when we pay attention to that still small voice within. And I will, maybe it's a spoiler alert, I'm not sure, but I will tell you that as a result of this visioning class, we are beginning a visioning process for intentionally bringing forth a sacred arts ministry here at the Centers for Spiritual Living in Colorado Springs. And I am thrilled that it's come through the class this way. So visioning is the process, as Michael Bernard Beckwith tells us. I want to give you his particular way of saying this. He says this in his workbook, Visioning, A Way of Living, that visioning is a process by which we train ourselves to be able to hear, feel, see, and grasp God's plan for our life, or whatever the particular project is, the Sacred Arts Ministry, whatever we're working on. And visioning is based on the idea that we are not here to tell God what to do, or to ask God for things, beseeching, please, 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 but to absolutely be available for what God is already doing, and to open ourselves to grasp what is already happening. He goes on and says, the practice requires concentration and time to enter into that receptive silence, and then from there to capture that divine idea, the supreme expression of our current project. So the vision opens us to a greater idea than we typically have on our own. So in witnessing these projects, one of the things that I really loved, and I love it every time I see it, is that every single student went through the same process. They heard the same information, and yet in the projects, all the projects were different. So what that tells me, it reaffirms for me that diversity is by divine design, period. End of sentence. Nothing else needs to be said about that. Although I probably will say more about that later. But, so the other thing that I caught as I was preparing for this particular talk was an interview on Super Soul Sunday. And yes, I'm a Super Soul Sunday junkie. And it was with Brother David Steindl-Rast. You might know him as the gratitude guy. He's a Benedictine monk. And what he shared in this interview was another process. It's another process that I want to share with you. And he calls it stop, look, and go. And so what he's telling us is to stop, to pause, to breathe, to connect with the presence, look, whatever's going on, whatever is happening around you in that moment, recognize that it is an opportunity being gifted to you by life. So you're looking for that opportunity. And then you go. You act on the opportunity as you recognize it. So I love that process of being able to stop, look, and go to see where your intuition wants to take you. Practicing this process of allowing yourself to turn within, to check in. We can do this anywhere, anytime, even here, up on the pulpit. I encourage us to do this as often as we can, and for as long as we can, Because it's not the external world that's going to lead us in the right direction. Destiny could be called the external world. And yet we are called to make the choices for ourselves. We are called to listen to that still small voice within and follow, stop, look, go where it's leading us. So let's see what else I have to share today. The last spiritual practice that I want to share. The last spiritual practice that I want to share is practicing the presence. And Joel Goldsmith wrote the book, Practicing the Presence, and in that book, he teaches us how to do just that. When you look up, recognize that all that you see is the presence in form. That's practicing the presence. And so we're invited to do that. Looking around, I'm recognizing that the presence is here in form. And as I close my eyes and turn within, I know that the presence is here within. So your call to action this week is to meditate, is to vision, is to practice the presence in all you see and within yourselves. Blessed be. So I invite our practitioners to stand wherever they are. As we come together in consciousness, opening the aperture to the divine presence. Recognizing that everything I see, everything I hear, everything I feel, everything I touch, everything is spirit, is the divine, revealing itself, as it says in the Bible under Acts. God is in, through, and as each of us, everywhere present. And I know that this divine intelligence is the divine intelligence that I use, that each of us uses, especially as we turn within, releasing the scrolling of social media, focusing on the divine yes within. I stop, I look, I go. And so I speak a word this morning, blessing each and every one of us as we do this, as we open to the divine, as we unify with the divine, as we live the life of the divine, that divine flow. And I am so grateful for this community that allows us to come together and support each other in this process. I am grateful. And it's from this place of gratitude that I release this prayer, knowing that we are all blessed, all connected, unified with the One. And so I release this word and invite all to join me by saying, and so it is.
Here we are, we don't know what for. We've got all we need, but we're fighting for more than we say. Hey, well, I am okay. We still fight every day and we spin, chasing our tails. Stories we live by, they lock us in jail. Then we say, hey, well, I am okay. We still chase every day, and it's hell in a hamster wheel, running in place from all we feel. Imagine what we could do if we stopped those things we do. Roll the love down Life Avenue. You know, we don't stand a chance when all of our regrets come and ask us to dance. Though we say, hey, I don't like that tune, it still sweeps us away. And these strings, they're so tightly wound, and all of our frets make such sorrowful sounds. So we say, hey, well, I am okay. We still fret every day, and it's hell to be so afraid of changes to plans our hands have made. Oh, what our hands might do if they dropped those things we do and picked up love on Life Avenue. View if we stop those things we do. Ride the love down Life Avenue.
So we are going to go into our conscious giving time. But before we do, I want to make an announcement. Last week we had our votes, right? So this week I want to announce fully, right here, that we have a new treasurer, Stephanie Hall. And we have a new secretary, both on the Leadership Council, Amanda Carmen Aquino. And I also want to let you know that the changes to the bylaws were also approved. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who showed up and voted and all of that. All right, so now is our conscious giving time. And so this is our opportunity to give financially to the center to help us grow these processes and ministries and ways that we go out and touch the world and support each other within. So I invite you to take your gift and put it on your heart as we say our affirmation. I joyfully celebrate the flow of God through me. I am grateful for receiving and giving to my spiritual community. I give thanks, always knowing God is my source, and so it is. We are so blessed by our musicians. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I also want to let you know that we are blessed by our practitioners. They are here to serve. So those of you who would like to request prayer after service, remember you can stay in here and the practitioners that are available for prayer will be here. And if you can't stay, you got something else you got to go and do, there is a prayer box in the back where you can put a written request, and our practitioners will pray on that throughout the week. So we are blessed. Patty, come on up. Oh, and I do want to let you know, I know Patty's going to draw from the basket, but there's only one gracious giving recognition in here. So it's just one's going to come out. I want to invite you, even if you have submitted a gracious giving nonprofit in the past, come on forward and nominate another one. I'd love to have more than one in the basket. Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because I've been sitting on my hands thinking, oh, I have to wait another year in order to put in my request. So we do just have the one, and it's for the Science of Mind Archives Foundation. Yes. The current location of the Ernest Holmes Archives and Library Foundation, Reverend Kathy, thank you, Executive Director. And this request was submitted by Deborah Ireland Young. Thank you. And now, do we have kiddos?
We learned that we just sat and be quiet and still, and we didn't did a sound bath.
Oh, that is so nice. I love seeing all these kiddos up here. I truly do. Let's all stand and join hands and hearts and sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as our center, united all are we. Let us walk with each other